we can get. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Magical Monday Angels of Light group Zoom. It's been a while since we've done it. I appreciate all of your patience and flexibility with the summer and just, how life gets a little hard sometimes with kiddos out of school. So I really appreciate it. But we are going to be starting them back up. I was looking at my son's schedule and Mondays are still going to be okay, at least through the fall. And then we may have to reevaluate what days we do it when he starts back with his regular high school baseball. So anyways, thank you guys for being flexible. So today's July 26th. We had a launch of the Genie from Aladdin this morning. Some people weren't aware of it because it was in the news tab, but it's kind of far to like scroll down. And if you weren't with Scentsy Family Reunion live, haven't seen the stuff, you wouldn't know that. But if you go on your news tab and you scroll pretty about 4 rows down, you'll see it with all the information of how much he is and everything. Of course, he's while supplies last. So just make sure that you are blasting, posting, calling, texting, whatever you do to make sure your clients are aware of it. Because unless they've specifically told you that they love Aladdin, you don't know. And you don't know if they know somebody that loves Aladdin, all that fun stuff. And this is really the time that people are starting to put things away for Christmas. So I also want to remind you guys of the products that are going to be put away in the vault July 30th, which is specific license products. I'm just pulling it up. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen for all of you visual people like me. Just you can follow along what I'm looking at. So the villains, the cars, R2-D2, the child, the Mandalorian bar, all that fun stuff. So it's cool. A lot of people ask me like, why do they do that? Why do they take it away when people are still buying? It's sense of urgency. It gives us another reason to connect with people. And it gives them another opportunity to bring new stuff out. So whenever customers or your clients, get upset about, they don't get it, they didn't get it, it went away too fast. It's a way to say, hey, when I tell you it's while supplies last, I'm not, teasing. I'm not trying to make a sale. I'm just trying to let you know that it's really going to go fast probably. So it's for our benefit, you guys. So just make sure you educate your clients on that. They did upload a lot of the stuff from what they announced on SFR. If you haven't gone through a lot of it, you can go to the news tab and go to the marketing tab, and they've uploaded a lot of the cool stuff that's going to be coming. But they'll be announcing more information as we go. So today I had some of our people that did, I'm 100% sure that they participate in SFR because they were either with me or I communicated with them and they know that they were watching. And so I asked them to pop on and just share a couple highlights of SFR for them. And we're just going to talk really fast about why plan for SFR for next year, starting now instead of waiting until or a lot of you may be saying, it's a year away. Why do I do that? Because we've seen a lot of people not be able to go because they didn't plan correctly. And the further out you plan, the better. So we'll talk a little bit about that. And then we're going to talk about the incentive trip for fall. We're going to watch the videos that they posted to kind of give you a visual of how exciting it is, hopefully give you a visual of where you can be, you yourself, and hopefully you put that yourself in that category as someone that will earn the incentive. Remember, I always share with you guys that quote from Henry Ford, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. So if you decide that that's just not you, that happens to other people, I don't have the time, all the things you tell yourself, then it's the truth, because you're not going to break down what needs to happen, and you're definitely not going to take the actions if you're telling yourself that it's not going to happen. So tonight we're going to give you a little bit of a breakdown, hypothetical, because we don't have the exact breakdown of what you'll have to do, but it's all pretty similar. I always share with you guys that the incentive trip was created by Orville Thompson to teach you how to run your business. And it's not just for the incentive period, but it's all year round. It's just the fundamentals of the people that are have built a business that they can rely their income on Scentsy. Those are the things we're doing every single day consistently. Obviously, you know, when you slow down in one area, your business slows down. And so that's the one thing I always say, is that we can't blame anybody but ourselves when we don't get the paycheck we want, unfortunately. So, all right. So without further ado, I'm just going to go from the screen that I see and I'm going to pick Cindy. If you can just unmute yourself and share just a couple highlights from reunion that stuck with you, and maybe give a little plug of why you think people should come to SFR.
So first of all, I already bought the book, and from Jamie Kern Lima, so Believe It. So I bought that, and I bought a few from my front line. Highly recommend everybody go to Scentsy Family Reunion. It's the best thing. It rejuvenates you. It just lets you know that if nothing else, everybody from Jess and Mitch all the way up the chain, Becca, Terry, Orville and Heidi, they're all very down-to-earth people, and everybody just wants the best for us and wants us all to succeed. I already booked my hotel in Salt Lake City. We are I think 0.2 miles from the convention center. So yes, I highly recommend everybody to start planning and book now. I know a few were asking about that too. So.
Thank you, Cindy. Was there anything specific that popped out for this reunion that helped you? Was it basically that the Jamie, the one that wrote the book, was that your highlight that really helped you? That,
and just being back together with people after being not together for so long, it kind of rejuvenated me to yes, this is gonna work. And a talk I had with a really good friend of mine really inspired me too. Yes.
Awesome.
It was nice to see everybody. It was awesome.
Yes, that was a highlight for me as well. I'm a people person. I need my energy from other people. So thank you for coming, by the way, because that really helped me. Okay, Miss Michelle, can you share a little bit? And I'm going to mute myself. Oh, I'm sorry. Michelle's right next to each other. Miss Brooks, you're next on my little box.
Okay, sorry, I was having a hard time unmuting. So yay, hi everybody. It's been so long since I've seen everybody. So I would say for me, I already read her book. So it was a lot for me, just in my head, just kind of reinforcing what I had already read about. Definitely the general sessions always are a big highlight for me, because you get to see all the fun new stuff, and you get to see, I also love every single year when we get to hear from Heidi and Orville, whether it's virtually or in person, because you can really feel their heart and their love for us. It's not about them and their company. It's about us and what they can do for us. And that's always a really big takeaway for me. And if there's ever a year to be at SFR, next year is the year, with the exception of 3 years from now when Heidi and Orville are back. I would say next year, because it's going to be the first year in 2 years where I'm already, as I'm talking about, I'm getting chills. It's just, there's going to be so much energy, and I'm not a people person. I'm very much an introvert, but I found after just this weekend of just watching the videos and taking my notes that I missed being enveloped in Scentsy, just getting away from the house and away from the responsibilities of making dinner and, trying to fit in the training, just going there and being enveloped in Scentsy. You're on the way back. I always take a notebook on the airplane, because I'm writing notes the whole way back. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. And I don't have that same energy. I don't have that same motivation right now, because everything is taken in much smaller chunks when I have time. So I would say, and definitely a plug to compliment what Cindy, I have not made my hotel reservations yet, but if you are planning on going, making those ASAP only for the reason why I stated this is the first year back in person. So I feel like it's going to be crazy fun. So
I agree. I always say to people that are new that have never been to SFR is it's like your baptism to your business. And when you kept saying like totally, I kept thinking of that like total immersion that you're just like doused in it and there's no other distractions and you're just everywhere you go, there's just stimulus going and lights and smiles and hugs and everything. And it's just
totally. And
yeah.
like you get to talk to other Scentsy consultants and you're like brainstorming right there at SFR. You know, you're not like, it's just, like Chuck said in his thing, when he's like, my favorite part is like, not the general sessions and not that, but like seeing people in the hallway and stuff like that. Like that, oh my God, I'm just getting chills just thinking about it. It's just like the best. Just being able to just talk Scentsy all day long. It's just the most exciting thing.
You brought that up because that is so true. I always say like the little conversations we have in the corners with people are usually like the most like ahas that we get. Like
it's so fun.
Amazing. Okay, thank you so much, Michelle. And Michelle Cohen, can you please unmute?
It's okay. I was at a training today and there was another Michelle C and I was like, we're doing cahoots. And I was like, okay, you put Michelle and I'll put Michelle C. Cool. But so next year, I'm really excited because unlike those at your 5th year anniversary landed before SFR, I'm right after SFR. So I'll get to walk the stage. So I'm super excited. I was like, if not for any other reason, I just get to walk the stage. But I really liked, I like Jess had said when we were live, I like all the professional growth stuff and learning from all of the consultants and the breakouts. And I do like the virtual aspect of the breakouts because we get to pause and watch and really like listen to every single one. So I'm hoping that they kind of keep that component. But the guest speakers are phenomenal. And I really love Jamie. And I love this like her setback equal the setup. And I feel that with these last 2 years, even though Scentsy has grown, it has shown me, because I don't know. I mean, I'm kind of like an extroverted introvert. So I have my times where I just kind of like to be in my own little shell. But when I go to Reunion, it's a really great opportunity to just talk to other consultants that get my enthusiasm and seeing the products up close and taking all those videos of like all the angles and the dishes and the, all that new stuff is really cool. Just really celebrating people live is a lot of fun. All the cheers. Just like when we were in Anaheim, it was the first global. So it was like, 10,000 people or something crazy. And that energy, I mean, I don't think that Raiders fans in the stadium would have the energy that Scentsy consultants have at SFR. Like we would out yell those fans, like hands down. It's just so contagious, but like, it's such a high. Like I said before, it's just being in positive energy and you're just really immersed and motivated. But somebody posted something about motivation. Was it Melissa Henning? She said something, oh my God, her quote. But I was like, yeah, it's not like you can't be just motivated, right? You have to just be in this space. So that's my, like, I don't know. I haven't even watched all the trainings, but my hand is just like, oh my God, all this and all this stuff. And it's just like that I have a blank slate, and July kind of sets us up. So I don't know. That's all. Like I can keep on talking. I'm so excited.
Awesome. No, that's lots of great inspiring things. You made me think about, I love taking pictures with the big Scentsy buddies that they bring and just the different fun thing. Like we get to see the barman walking around.
The expos are a lot of fun. I mean, just all those things that you can't get virtually, that you can't get sitting at home. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. I just muted myself. Jet, you're next on my box. What would you like to share with us?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So I missed the very beginning, so I've only caught a little bit of what we're supposed to be talking about.
Oh, so just share, have you been able to get on? I know you had some personal stuff go on. Were you able to watch any of the Scentsy family reunion videos?
Just a little bit.
Okay, what has anything inspired you or popped out that, so far that you've watched?
So I am in love with the complete fall line. I'm going to be completely broke.
Yeah.
So, but I haven't, I started watching that part of it, and the lady, I can't remember her name, where she was talking about she was the makeup business and she had rosacea and like her trials of how she kept going through and just never giving up. And we all know there's days where we just want to throw in the towel. Like you have those days. And I got to say, she was really inspiring to me to hear like everything that she went through, like just amazing. And she just never gave up. And that like set with me to remind me, just don't give up, keep going, even those days where you just want to like be done. So that was one thing. Yeah.
Awesome.
So that's about as far as I got.
Okay.
Huh?
That was a huge, right? She was a big impact for me as well. And so I do recommend if anybody goes back and watch that. I actually posted in our group page some of the photos, and I did a screenshot of her book, which I can't remember off the top of my head right now, but it's in the, oh, there we go. Believe. Wow, it got there that fast, huh? Did you do Amazon, Cindy, or yeah, Amazon? Okay, it's in. So, Cindy, do you mind typing in the chat the name of it, just so, and then if you go through the photos as well in our group page for SFR, you'll find the photo of that. Thanks, Jet. I appreciate it. I'm excited to hear when you get to hear more. Okay, Liz, you're next on the roster. So you were late, a little bit late, so you didn't hear this part. Basically, what we're doing right now, Liz, is just going through any highlights, pop outs of, ahas for you for reunion, and then any kind of a plug that you feel like why people should plan to go to reunion next year. Oh, you're muted, honey.
Hi, everyone. I know I haven't popped in a while, so here I am, pop. So for me, reunion is like the ultimate. It's like Scentsy on steroids, right? It's everything is so amplified, the excitement, the people, the knowledge. It's like at 1,000 degree compared to, watching it on videos from people from all over the world and seeing what things they have to offer or bring to the table as far as knowledge and new things to try with your business. That is amplified tenfold in person, because then you really see like, oh, like, of course, everybody on YouTube looks like, spectacular. They have their makeup on, they got all, everything together, but then you see them there like any other person, they may have it together, they may not have it together, but it's kind of cool to see that they're just like everybody else, and it makes them relatable. And that's what's cool about being at reunion too. Like you think like, oh, I can't do those things. I can't do videos like that. Well, you don't have to be a professional, because if that person across the room can do it, and she's not anything, she's spectacular, but not like, a superhero spectacular. But so you don't have to, that's what makes it more realistic for me as far as what the business aspect is all about. Like just being at, reunion at home this year or last year I didn't really attend, even though I've signed up. I'm going to be honest, I didn't really attend much stuff, but this year I made it a point to like be part of it a little more. And it just reminded me that, anyone can work this business. And then even not being there in person was, was kind of sad, but I'm really excited for Salt Lake. So, and plus, if you like to travel, what better way to go to other cities and make it a tax deduction all around? As far as like you get to travel, you get to take your spouse with you, you get some time away, and it's all tax deductible. You can always save your receipts, your gas, your airfare, and all that stuff, and you get to travel basically for free, kinda. You get some of it back in taxes, but still you get to claim it on your taxes. I mean, that alone is kind of cool too. So there's so many great things about Reunion, and I'm sure we can't touch on every single aspect. You really have to be there and really have to experience to get the full effect of it all. And the only reason I went to my first reunion was because, I was recognized for something that I did, and that just was pretty bitching to be a part of, walk the stage and be a part of something. So you get to do all kinds of things. You too get to participate if you earn certain awards, or you get to walk because you earn title or award or something. So that is pretty cool, something to aspire to do as well. So that's what my take on it is.
Thanks, Liz. I'm glad you brought up the travel, because that's a big deal with a lot of people. It's like, I get to go away with my husband or spouse or whatever, and it's a tax deduction. That's awesome. Very cool. Thanks, Liz. Nadia, you're next.
Hey, okay, so I think, I haven't been to an actual Scentsy family reunion because, I started right before the apocalypse. And so, last year it was all virtual. And so this year, I haven't seen as many of the breakouts or anything, but what I really enjoyed was going to your house and seeing people and meeting people in person, because, it's like listening to music in your car or going to a concert. It's like there's just an energy. So I'm excited for next year to get to be at the concert with all the people, feeling that energy. It's just different. And like I've said a whole bunch of times, I grew up with my mom selling Princess House, and they have they could cheer the roof off a place too. And so I'm super excited for that for Scentsy, because I know that we have, I think, a lot more people, and we're super motivated and really excited and very passionate. So yeah, I'm booked and ready to go. And yeah, it's already a year away. I was kind of like planting the seed to my husband, because he said, when you mentioned that there were husbands at that thing, like, was that to invite me, or are you just telling me? I was like, a little bit of both. So we'll see if he'll want to go, but I'm slowly, maybe over the next year, I can get him into it. But
We have a year to work on him.
We'll see how good of a salesperson I am.
Yeah, the more husbands that we're able to say that are coming, well, that'll help us sell the idea. Awesome.
That's right.
Thank you. Michelle, Did you say, Cohen, you had something to say? Oh, she's just thumbing up.
The husband part. I'm like, mine's coming. I'm making him.
Awesome. Okay, thank you for sharing, you guys. Okay, so Jolene, you don't have your screen on. Are you able to share? Have you watched anything yet before we move on? I don't want to leave her out.
I haven't watched anything yet. We are in the process of selling and moving and all that fun stuff and the drama that goes on with it. So I've actually been disconnected. So I was like, I need to jump on this while I actually have a moment of peace and quiet to, recenter and catch up, and just to kind of listen to what how everybody reacted to it, what everybody's thoughts were, and all that fun stuff. I had my thing off just because I have my little one climbing all over me. He's sick.
Well, I'm glad you're on. That's super awesome. Thank you for making the time to come on with us. I hope you hear something that's inspiring.
Yes, I have.
Thank you. Okay, so we're going to move on to, well, real fast, I'm just going to plug that it is a year away. However, if you start planning now, you'll be able to plan, like, could be your Scentsy money, whatever you do, like a little bit aside every paycheck to pay for plane tickets, lodging, food, even registration. And there is a breakdown that I'm going to post in the page. I'm going to have to find it because it's been a while, but one of our team members, which it was so awesome to do this, she literally broke down how much she has to save by day. Like she just put pennies and then she would double it every day. And then she literally paid for her whole trip by doing this. And by the time registration and she had to pay for plane tickets and her lodging and her food and everything was already done. And so, some people pay a chunk of it with their tax returns, whatever. I mean, it's up to you what you do. But I will say the further out you plan, the better. And then a couple did share how they're already booked or they're planning to book like ASAP because like Michelle Brooks said, this is the first in-person in 2 years. People that didn't even they're waiting, they can't wait to go. All those hotels are going to be booked up really fast. And we don't want you to be the one that's 20 minutes away. The closer you are, the easier it is. I'm not going to lie. If you could just walk to the convention center, if you're planning on taking, driving, you will have a car. So that'll help a little bit with if you go a little bit further out, but just the sooner you book, the better. Did I miss anything? Anybody else that I should share about? Those of you that have jobs that you work full-time or even part-time, start thinking in your head, when do you have to start asking for the time off? Do you have time off? Planning all that kind of stuff. Babysitting. A lot of people will say oh, I don't have a baby, I have a kid. Well, you have a year to plan to send them to grandma's house or, have your next door neighbor, whatever you do, but you have an entire year to plan for that one little week that's going to make such a huge difference in your future on a personal level as well as a business level. So a lot of you guys have already heard this, but if you are newer, one of the best things my sponsor ever said to me is that you can't afford to not go. And what that means is that there's so much that you're going to learn on a company level, a business level, just the culture that you're a part of that really gives you that motivation and inspiration to want to do well. You're going to see what's available to you that you may not really know because maybe you haven't really been involved up until, but then once you're immersed into it, all of a sudden all these doors are available and you see oh my gosh, this is available to me. And it really changes. I can tell you a ton of people that went to their first reunion and their whole concept and perspective of their business changed. And one specifically went there as a certified consultant and became a director 4 months later on my team. And so that's literally how a mindset and perspective can change that fast. For her specifically, she saw me walking the stage, accepting the annual mentor award, and that inspired her. She said to herself in her brain, I want to be on stage and I want to earn that award. And she not only did that, but she also earned her first incentive trip. She became a director, all kinds of stuff. It's just, you see it with your own eyes, what is truly available. And it's to everybody. It's not a certain level that you're in or how long you've been in. Mitch said to the people that were at my house the other day that it's actually easier to earn incentive points for people that aren't as high on the title level, because the higher you go, it gets harder to promote, and those points you can't, like me, I can't ever get any promotion points ever again. So I have to work harder in other areas. So if you are thinking, oh, I'm an essential consultant, I'm a certified, or I'm just a lead or whatever, take that just away, because that's an advantage for you. Okay. Go ahead, Michelle, please do.
Okay, I'm going to add to that, since I was going to say this during when I was talking later, but to add to that, when I first went to Reunion 2016, I had been a consultant for 3 months or something like that. I went as a lead consultant and earned top 100 and went to Africa, promoted, triple promoted during the promotion, during the incentive period. So I can definitely attest to what Jess is talking about. I cannot say that it was SFR that motivated me to do that, if I'm being really honest. But, since we're talking about the incentive, I was a lead consultant and I hit top 100. I think I was like number 40 something in the whole company. So like it is absolutely 100% possible no matter where you are to earn, no matter what level you want to earn. And we don't know the qualifications yet, but we know that there's like different levels, right? So I speak to that.
Awesome. Thank you. And I'm just actually going to turn it over to you because Michelle's going to kind of give you guys a little breakdown of a hypothetical of what it looks like to earn a trip as far as what the qualifications are and what you're responsible for to do. So I'm just going to mute myself, Michelle. Thank you so much.
Okay, so since we don't really know what the qualifications are, we can assume a couple of things. First of all, we can assume that there are sponsoring points of some sort, right? We can assume that there are paid at title or paid at rank points. The difference between paid at title and paid at rank is the title. Paid at title is what you are as of August 1st going into it, and paid at rank is whatever you're getting paid during the incentive period. So if you're a those paid at title rank points would not count for certified because that is, it'll be lead and above. So we know that those are gonna happen because they're with everything. Then PRV, one PRV equals 1 point, right? Typically going off of past incentives, there is probably likely going to be a some sort of a consistency point bonus. So like last year during the qualification, if you hit sold, I think it was 500 PRV for 5 out of the 6 months, you got an additional 2,500 points, right? So we know that we can assume that that's going to be there. These are all, again, it's like Jess said, this is all hypothetical. Okay. So, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to share like a breakdown of how, like once those incentive trip points release on August, or, you know, maybe they'll do it earlier, just, you know, just cause they're nice. Once you look at it, you know, to like start thinking in your brain how you can make it possible. So one of the things that I do is I look at whatever the top tier is. Okay, it's not because I've earned the top tier or because whatever, it's that whole thing. If you shoot for the moon, you'll land among the stars, right? If you're shooting for the top tier, then you can fall anywhere in between that, right? So I always look at the top tier points. And so we can use last year as an example, or even the spring incentive really, but you know, there was a certain amount of points that you needed to earn, and then there was a certain amount of sponsoring points, right? So what I would do, we'll say maybe it's 30,000 points that you need. And I have this breakdown, so I'm going to look down because I'm not good at math. I had to do this all ahead of time. So, but we'll say like 30,000 points. We'll say that's the top tier, right? And we'll say out of those 30,000 points, they're going to require 4,500 sponsoring points. Okay, now in the qualification, they will tell you what sponsoring points mean. You know, they'll tell you, you know, what all the points mean, but we'll say for the sake of this, that sponsoring points is anybody that you sponsor or help promote during the incentive period. Okay, and I'm only saying that because that's what it was last fall. Okay, so we'll say 4,500 sponsoring points. Okay, so you take the 30,000 and you subtract the 4,500 sponsoring points because you have to have those. Okay, that's how I break it down. You have to have those regardless, otherwise you're not earning it, right? So you take those points away, and then you're left with 25,500 points. Okay, that's a lot of points. So then you have to figure out how can we further break that down to make it a little bit easier? Well, for me, I'm a director. So if they had paid at rank, if I were paid at rank for all 6 of the months, that would be 1,000 points. So from that number, the 25,500, I would minus 6,000 points from that. And then I come up with 19,500. Okay, so you see how it's starting to break down, you know, it's getting smaller and smaller. Then from that, I already know that because of how I run my business, I already know that whatever the consistency is, if it's 500, if it's 1,000, if it's 1,500, I'm going to be shooting for doing that 5 out of the 6 months. Okay, so in the last incentive period, you got an additional 2,500 points for being consistent with your sales. Okay, so then I take that 19.5 and I minus the 2,500 because I'm going to earn it, right? I just know that's just how my brain is breaking it down, right? So that is left with 17,000 points. Okay, so then to even further break that down, what I do is I take that 17,000 points and I divide it by 6 because there's 6 months in the qualification period. Okay, so breaking that down by 6 points, I know that I have to sell a minimum of 2,834. It's actually 833, 33, 33, 33. So 2,834 PRV on average each month during the qualification period. Okay, so here I've gone from making it 30,000 to making my goal 2,800. Okay, so now what you're going to do is those are the points. This is my opinion. Those are the points I have the most control over, right? Because they're my PRV points. That's how much I have control over. I don't have control over like what my team does or, you know, anything like that, but I have control over what I do. So I try to focus on that number. And then I break down, okay, how am I going to get this 4,500, right? So I start revisiting the people that, you know, that I've either had sponsoring conversations with, you know, and then we start talking about more of the opportunity. But here's the thing, you guys, do not feel, and Jess might disagree with me, but she might agree with me, I don't know. If you see that number, like if it's 8,000 points, we'll say if it's 8,000 sponsoring points and you're like, oh my God, I have never sponsored 8 people in a 6-month period ever. How am I going to do that? Look, it's not about you having to sponsor. It's about you helping them sponsor and them sponsor and them sponsor. It's about your whole team. So don't think that you have to sponsor 8 people. You know, you have to sponsor people and you have to help them promote to certify. Then you have to help them promote to lead. It also could help on looking at the team that you have and see who, if they were paid at title this month, you know, who on my team is ready to promote? Like, you know, who is already a certified consultant? Who can I start working with to get them to lead? Who can I start, you know, who on my team? So like on my team, I have 100 people on my team. So I would look at my team and I would see, okay, I have this person right here who is a lead consultant, but she's got 5 people on her team. How can we work together to help her promote to star and then, you know, and beyond? So really that's what the breakdown is. It is not about finding 8 people to convince to join Scentsy. It's about, you know, finding people and working with them. And that's why we get rewarded. We get rewarded for the hard work that we're putting in, that, you know, it's training you to just, it's pushing beyond the incentive period. So in addition to those points, so the reason why you did not hear me say promotion points is because for me, I'm a director. So there's a lot that needs to happen in order for me to promote to star director, right? So if you are a lead, a star, a superstar consultant, add those promotion points in there. Like if I promote, this is how much PRV I would need a month. Or if I promote, this is how many insert points, you know, factor that in, and then that number becomes so much smaller. And I find making that number the most attainable in my brain is how I think I've been able to earn every single fall incentive leading up to now.
I do agree with you, by the way. Shared that too, because it's less scary that you pointed that out, because like you said, people, but it's all about helping your team members. And that's why Scentsy rewards you with that, because they were about giving more than taking. And when you're spending and focusing time on other people and helping them achieve their dreams, I think it's Zig Ziglar that says, spend enough time helping other people achieve their dreams, you'll achieve yours tenfold, something like that. Don't quote me. I'll find it and I'll post it, but it's so true.
Looking at the team that you have, you know, it's kind of like it's easier to follow up with customers that you already have than it is to constantly find new ones. You know, if you're looking at the team members, especially ones that are motivated right now, looking at them and see what you can do to support them in their journey will really help. You know, it's just all around. It keeps you motivated. It helps them, you know, it helps inspire them, just all around. And that is actually how I was able to help Amanda last year earn the incentive trip, is because she had, you know, she was like, it's October. How am I'm so close. I'm this. And I'm like, look, let's look at your team. Who do we have on your team that is like rocking and rolling right now? And so she said a name. And I was like, look, let's reach out to her. Let's see if she wants it, how bad she wants it. And so she's like, hey, so-and-so, you know, if you promote to lead consultant, insert reason why. And she was like, done, sponsored somebody that night, promoted to lead consultant within 2 weeks because she was hungry. And that's how you look at your team. You look at who, like, you can't wake the dead, right? Like, you can't convince a star consultant with no team members that they're going to promote to superstar consultant in a month, right? So you have to look at the team that you have and who is hungry on that team, and, you know, pour into them. And, you know, it's just like all around helps your business.
And I think that what you just said, it made me think, the thought came through my brain is that just like we don't know until we ask, as far as hosting and joining, we don't know until we ask what people want that are already on your team. Just because they are on your team and not doing anything, we can't assume that they don't want it. It's just they may not know how to go about it, or that you're okay, that you want to help them. So we have to constantly be inviting, saying, hey, I'm here, I want to work with you if you want to get to the next level. And sometimes that's all you need to let them know. We don't know why they don't reach out to us. You know, we can't sit around and just wait and hope that people say, hey, I want to get to the next level, you know, or just like, hey, I need some more wax. We have to follow up. So I love the way you explained everything. She's a teacher. She has that. She writes things down so much more. I'm like, she'll be so much better at this than me. So I'm gonna share my screen, and we're gonna share the video, just so hopefully so you guys can get a little excited about why you would want to earn this, because it's, you know, kind of cool. So region 1. Let's see. Okay. I'm so sorry if it flipped to the other page for a second. I was like, oh no, they can think if there was any interruption with and there was with the Facebook feeding, but they could pop on and watch the recording anyways. So I just wanted to kind of put a plug with like going on the ships. If you haven't been on a cruise before, I was terrified, thinking I'd get seasick. Just I was scared. The first one I went on, and my biggest tip is just take a Dramamine like 30 minutes before you go on it, and you keep going like as it's directed, just stick on it, stick to the every 4 hours or whatever, and I was completely fine. But one thing I want to share of experience that I had, which was super cool, is I've never really had a reason to dress up in my life until I joined Scentsy. I always like used to, people would go to like big dinners and have big old gowns. And I'm like, and my husband, when he was in the military, they have like a military ball. And the one time that it was, that we had little kids and we just couldn't go. And so I missed out on all that fun stuff. And I think all of us, there's some, even at one point in our lives, we liked princesses, and you get to dress up every night to go to dinner on the cruise if you want to. You don't have to, but if that's something you like to do, like I don't have a reason to dress up every single day. And it was really neat. And my husband dressed up, and it was just a nice experience of being able to like feel like we had a reason to, like, a real fancy date basically every night. And so you get to choose how you're going to make that experience basically what it's going to look like. And then all the different destinations. It's one thing I tell people is that if you oh, that's Liz. Is that Liz? Oh, it just came through right now. Sorry. Sorry, Liz. Is you deserve it. All of you deserve to experience these things and see these things. And not one person is unworthy or not good enough or don't have and if you feel like you don't have the skill or the knowledge, then work with your sponsor, your director. We all want to help you. And you may not know where you are lacking, but that's where coaching comes about, is that we'll ask you questions to kind of help you dig deep of where the blockage is or whatever that's that you're kind of struggling with. And it's not going to be one session. Sometimes you're going to have to stick closely with somebody that's helping you, kind of work with you and holding you accountable. And because if we get too stagnant and just if we don't see any progress, then it's very likely, like Jet said from Jamie's book, that it's likely to feel like we want to give up. Like, I don't see any growth. She got shut down so many times. She invested and flew places just to get, thinking she's going to get her first offer, for them to say, yeah, it's a no. I mean, most people would say, okay, I'm done, right? But when you have a belief system that, no, this is for you, this is going to happen. And if for some reason you don't have that belief system, be honest with yourself and your sponsor or director, whoever you're working with, and say, I don't believe right now that I have the skill, or believe that I should go on this trip or can earn this trip. And then we know where we need to start, is working on your belief system. And what is, and it most likely has nothing to do with safety. It's always something on a personal level. It could be something that somebody said to you when you were 15 years old that is still engraved in the back of your brain and holding you back. And I can say this because I have been working and chipping away on all those things that have messed me up throughout my whole life, and have sometimes I've already achieved things and I still have to be reminded that I could do this and that I'm worthy. And the only way I can remind myself is to talk with other people, partner with other people that are striving to do the same thing, that they're all human, so they all have their own struggles in some way, shape, or form. And that's the one thing, is that we almost punish ourselves when we sit and we suffer alone, thinking that I'm going through this by myself, and nobody else is feeling this way. I can bet you money that everybody in Scentsy, you just have to pick who you're going to work with, can say something to a struggle or setback that you have gone through either recently or in the past. And they can either help you work through it with you, or you guys can work on it together, because maybe you're going to find that they're going through the same thing. But the beauty about this business is there's always another chapter. And so even if for some reason you don't get to earn the, the cruise, if you strive, like I love Michelle, how she said, aim for the moon and land among the stars, at least you're going to earn your incentive to reunion, most likely. So you could be around everybody and get that immersion and get that confidence built up again and get the knowledge that you need. And then you never, by that time, the following year, you're going to maybe gain that belief system that, you know what am I holding myself back for? Let's do this, and you'll be on the next incentive. But I hope that if you do yourself a favor and decide to work with somebody, it isn't, and it may not even be somebody with Scentsy, somebody that you look up to, that maybe is a strong person that you see get through a lot of, challenging times and never gives up. Maybe you need to say, hey, I need some help with, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm striving for. I need somebody to hold me accountable. I need to do this. Like, Cindy and I challenge each other to get 5 samples out a day. And if you could tell that person, look, I want to try to get 5 samples out a day. I want you to ask me by the end of the week how many I've gotten. And that's going to push me to have to actually do it, because if you're going to be asking me, I'm going to, feel kind of silly if I'm like, what? Well, excuse. So, but I will tell you that, I'm sure Michelle can say this as well, and Liz, because she's done great things in her business too, that we haven't achieved those things by sitting and doing everything by ourselves. There was connection in some way, whether plugging into training calls and being a part of other people that are striving to do the same things, or working together one-on-one with somebody else, or all of the above. But staying immersed as much as you can in the business is going to be the best mentally for you, because I'm not saying the people that have earned these trips, myself included, and I'm sure Michelle could back me up, that it's not because we didn't have challenging times. It's not because we didn't have days that or weeks that were like, oh my gosh, I just couldn't get myself to do anything. Or things in our personal life stopped us from doing anything with our business. But instead of dwelling on that, when we felt good enough to start, or we were able to start, we just started. Okay. So,
well, I think sometimes we get so focused on the how am I going to do something when it seems so unattainable. You get focused on the how, and instead of breaking it down into the, smaller steps, and like first figure out the what. Like, what is it that you want out of your business? If you want to promote, and if you want to sponsor, and if you want all those things, then the how almost becomes a little bit easier, because that's where you're starting. If you're looking at these points and you're like, oh my God, how am I going to do that? Well, look inside and think, like, what is it that you want out of your business? And even if you don't earn the incentive, at any level, who knows, then like, if you're working towards it, then you're going to grow. Your business is going to grow. Your customer base is going to grow. And, who knows, maybe this incentive doesn't speak to you, but maybe all this work that you're doing right now, maybe it'll speak to you next fall, because next fall we're going to Ireland. I don't know. I'm just kidding. That's on my bucket list. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're planting seeds right now. And that is sometimes, because I'm going to be really honest, you guys, I have earned every fall incentive since I joined, but I have yet to earn a spring and summer. I've never earned a spring and summer. And I don't know, it's not because I'm working my business differently or anything like that, but it doesn't speak to me the same way, right? So it really and I don't love to travel. That isn't it. It's just something about the fall that is so magical for me, that's what I don't know what it is, but I haven't earned a spring and summer, even though the qualifications are exactly the same. I haven't, it's just because that's not the incentive that speaks to me the most. So really think about the what first.
I'm glad you brought that up, because that made me think about when I've never earned annual sales until this year, because it never spoke to me. I was always so focused on trying to earn annual mentor, which I only earned once. but I always was like shy, like 1 or 2 people certifying. It always drove me crazy. But so I never was focusing on sales, and it wasn't inspiring to me. But for some reason this year it spoke to me, and I was inspired by other people to do it. So I focused a little bit more. And they always say, energy flows where focus goes. So you have to decide where you want to focus, and you'll see growth. And that is huge, that you'll see, as long as you see progress, that should be the win. That should be the exciting thing to focus on. And I also wanted to, I always think there's 2 sides to everything. When I first joined you guys, I earned 45,000 points in by November, and it started in August. I had no idea what the breakdown was, what I had to do. My sponsor posted on my group page, guess who just earned 2 for 2 and is going to Punta Cana. And I'm like, who? No idea the first year. She's like, Jess earned it for 2. And I'm like, I did? And it's because I was focusing on helping other people. That's all I was focusing on.
100%.
I was focusing on bringing them onto board because it was blessing me. And I'm like, I want you to see what this is about. I want you to be blessed by Scentsy. And then I'd help them grow. And it was just points were just racking up, and I didn't even know that it was even happening. And so if you just you have to find what inspires you. Is it inspiring by bringing people on and helping them and just diving into that? Or do you need to have a breakdown? Both of them are good, to be honest with you. Either way, maybe you need a little bit of both, because if you have no idea, it's kind of not very smart to just shoot blind, right? I just happened to be on fire when I first started. I was sponsoring 8 people a month. And so that's how that happened, right? So nowadays, I honestly don't have that same fire in me. I love what I do. I still think it's an amazing opportunity, but I don't have the hunger that I did 10 years ago. So I do have to have a visual now to go, okay, what do I need to do? And it keeps me on pace to see, oh, you know what, Jess, you haven't sponsored anybody in a couple months. You need to be more focused on that. You need to, actually sit down and have a time that you're going to have those conversations, because otherwise, months and months will just go by and I'm not having the conversations. So I just love what Michelle said, is that you just, find what speaks to you, because whatever speaks to you is what is for you. It's your purpose, it's your time. And if it's not to go to the incentive right this year, that's fine. Still try to earn it, because that's the structure that is going to help you build a business. Okay. Orville said himself, that's just like the carrot dangling in front of you to make you build a business. If the carrot isn't enticing to you, you don't like carrots, it's fine. But know that the things they're asking you to do, you can't get around not doing them if you want to build a solid business.
And the other thing too, like if you've already said, if you've looked at it and you're like, you know what, I don't really like cruising, this is not what I want to do, then you know what, you never, maybe you're saying that to yourself because you don't think it's going to be attainable, because you've never earned an incentive or whatever. So maybe work towards it and then just see what happens. You're hey, this might be kind of a cool thing. I might I don't love cruising either, but I'll tell you, when we went to the Mediterranean, that was super cool to see Rome and all the super cool places. And but it wasn't something that I was like, oh my God, I have to have that cruise. I was like, oh my God, I have to go to Rome. Right. So you may not, it may not be speaking to you now, but it might be this little voice in your head that's saying it's because you don't think you can do it, so working towards it, who knows, maybe in October, you might have this big old huge light bulb aha moment, and you've been working all along and you're like, you know what, I freaking want to go to Alaska, but you've been doing all this, you've been planting all those seeds, and then all of a sudden you're working towards it. You didn't even realize you were doing it, so you just never know what could happen. There's 6 months. I can't tell you what I want to do in 6 months, except for, go to Alaska, but that's just me. But maybe that's not you. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what 6 months time will bring unless you work for 6 months time. You know what I'm saying?
I love that. I like to say, let yourself have a choice. Like not because you
Absolutely.
didn't earn
Because
it,
if you say I can't or whatever, then look, you're not going to Alaska. But you know what? Look, if you earn it, you could be like, I don't know, but hey, you earned it.
if there's room, you can go to the other
Well,
places.
that's what Melissa did. When Melissa earned, when she earned her very first incentive, it was Marco Island. And, Marco Island did not excite me because it's, I don't know. In Florida. So anyway, it didn't, it didn't excite me. It didn't excite her either. So she went to New Zealand instead. Like it worked, her timeline worked out where that region's incentive trip worked better for her schedule anyway. So she went by herself, man. She didn't even like take her husband or anything. She ditched the husband and the kids, went to New Zealand, met a whole bunch of really awesome Region 3 people, and had the time of her life. And that wasn't something she was working for until she found out that that was her choice. Like, oh, I could choose New Zealand, Yes, ma'am, you can, so you just never know.
I love it. Well, I think that we gave a lot of hopefully inspiration and information that'll make you want to figure out. I always suggest print out your incentive qualifications when they post it. It's supposed to be August 1st, but like Michelle said, it may be sooner. Scentsy, they never know what they're going to do. And make an appointment with your sponsor or director. Honestly, even if you don't even know, just say, hey, I want to get together, whether it's Zoom or in person, wherever you guys live, whatever. And I just want to chat. I want to see where I'm at. What does it look like for the title that I'm at? Look, can you help me break this down just to kind of give myself an idea? But if you try to do it on your own, it's going to be that much harder, and you don't need that. That's what it's called, Scentsy Family, is because we're a family. We're here to support you, and to help you see things that maybe you don't see, because it's an unbiased situation. You have an emotional attachment to all the reasons why you think you can't or shouldn't or don't or whatever. We don't. So we can see things that you may not see and be able to hopefully show you that there's a door open that you may not see. But thank you all for coming on tonight. I really appreciate it. Thank you for Michelle for helping to break that down. She's better at explaining things. Plus she helped me save my voice. My throat has been hurting the last couple of days. But I just love you guys so much. And honestly, Michelle can honestly, I'm sure she agrees with me, is that it's so much more fun to go on incentive trips and Scentsy Family Reunion with our Scentsy family. It's great. It's exciting. But when we get to see all of you experiencing things and get to, experience fun things together, it's just that much more exciting. So let's do this together, you guys. Let's go on a cruise to Alaska or whatever and go ziplining together and go to Salt Lake City together and, make it a date. You have a great week, and I am going to be doing the weekly Monday calls. So I hope that you can plug in as much as you can so we can have some awesome conversations again. Any last thoughts, comments? Okay. Thank you guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you, ladies.
Bye.